Well, stocks saw some gains today. The Dow was up just over 18 points to close at 10,216. And the Nasdaq was also up almost 2 points, closing at almost 2,200. Rob Black is here now to talk about your money. At least we're off to a good start. It hasn't been a great summer, as we've discussed many times, but this week off to a better start anyway.
I'd say it hasn't been great, hasn't been awful. Could be better, but it could be a lot worse, too.
Could be a lot worse, sure.
You know, when you look at today, it was very lackluster. It was very summery. It was very Monday, where you felt like not all the traders were back at work. So there wasn't a lot to move on. We started weaker. We ended up a little bit higher. But that's about all we saw.
Now, you mentioned that the earnings season is upon us, but usually when they talk about the earnings season, that doesn't relate to the regular people like us. It really relates to the corporate folks, the high-up corporate folks, right?
Yeah, the world won't know if Pam gets a big raise in the next quarter, but the world will know how Intel
the world knows that's not happening, but go ahead.
It's a little secret between you and I and everyone else. We'll know about Intel and Cisco and Microsoft. We'll know about Alcoa, and we'll know about AT&T. And what's nice about that is the earnings are expected to be pretty good, because last year at this time we were still mired coming out of a recession.
Right.
So things are going to look great, but it's really not about what you do this quarter. It's what you say about the next 6 months, 12 months. And this is nice. Wall Street will start taking some cues from some fundamental data on how corporations are faring.
So does that give a sense, though, that eventually they're going to start hiring, which is what's the big issue right now?
That is the big issue. And if earnings come out better than expected, there would be an assumption, don't make too many assumptions, but there would be an assumption that hiring would come along down the road.
All right, let's talk about British Petroleum. They've actually been doing better. Are you surprised?
I was stunned by how big the number is.
Yeah.
And it shows you how Wall Street works. Up 35% ultimately in the last week. So last Friday, they met with Saudi Arabia, potentially about getting a big sovereign country to invest in them, just in case they need a bailout.
Right.
So they've said we'll sell some assets. They're looking at selling some assets. It looks like the plug might be finished maybe today, tomorrow. We'll keep our fingers crossed, but it's definitely sooner rather than later that hole gets plugged up. And Wall Street's starting to take bets early, so it's moved from the $28 level to the $35, $36, $37 level.
So that might help turn things around overall for the economy, just a bit at least.
It takes away one of the worries that, you know, economically the Gulf is going to get out of control.
Yeah.
It kind of quantifies it.
Okay. Now, you have some interest in what's happening with Playboy.
Yeah, this is my favorite line of the day. Take the bunny and run. Hugh Hefner's talking about buying back the company, taking it away from the public hands, and then out of nowhere, the owner of Penthouse has said that they want to step up and buy Playboy. These are assets. The revenues are declining aggressively. The bunny can be licensed pretty liberally in Vegas and other places like slot machines, but it's kind of odd to see that the 84-year-old man is trying to take over his company again and take it private.
All right, and you never know, though. When people take back those companies, they start. Sometimes good things happen. We'll be right back. Rob has some email answers to your questions. We have a lot more news ahead. Stay tuned.